writer, actor. I live in England, live in the UK. I'm so happy to come on the Keith Andrews show. He's absolutely fantastic host, very professional, very impressed with him. I think he's absolutely terrific, and I'm overjoyed to be asked to come on his show.
Parrington is an actor, writer, author, model. Also written over 20 short stories, 2 of which are ghosts, comedy stories. He has also appeared in many feature films and photos.
For people who want to know what is the Keith Andrew Network, the whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them labels do not dictate who you are and who you want to be. Prove to them is them out to something. Following's brought to you by Get Off Your Ass and Get Vaccinated. As soon as everyone gets vaccinated, things will go back to normal. What is normal? I have no idea, but it's sure as hell a lot better than what we're dealing with right now. But today is a very special episode where actually all my episodes are very special. We are continuing the trend of the UK edition of the Keith Andrew Network. So the first question I want to ask for guests is tell our audience a little bit about your background and how you came to do what you do now.
Okay, well, my name's Parrington. I live in the UK. I'm a writer, actor. I've done loads of acting and writing over the years. I first got into it at school and then came out of it and got into it in my 20s. Made a couple of films and appeared on TV and came out of it again. I went actually working for the NHS with learning disabilities for a while. And then I came out of that and went back into acting and thought I'd give it another good go, stick to it, and I'm still doing it today.
No, absolutely. Don't let me. I got distracted by your watch. It's like,
oh,
wait, it's 12 o'clock here, and it says almost 6 where you are.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm distracted by shiny little objects. But the next one I want to ask you is, do you have any successful stories you like to share with the audience?
Yes, I've got acting stories. Yes, I've got loads of different acting stories. I work with Sir Derek Jacobi. Have you heard of Sir Derek Jacobi? Big theatre actor and big star, big name over here. And Dinah Rigg, I work with those. And he used to give me tips on how to salt and pepper my hair, because I'm going grey, as you can see. And he used to tell me to use mascara and rub it in. Get that salt and pepper, Graham. He said it'll take years off you. White makes you look old, grey makes you look distinguished. So I've got loads of tales about Derek Jacobi and David Morrissey, Clive Owen. I've worked with Clive Owen. Me and him used to love baked potatoes in Chile. So when we're on set, and there's so many I could tell you. Sheridan Smith, I've worked with lots of them. They're all great people. Never worked with anybody that's been bad. I've been lucky really.
Well, let's start off with this. Who are your top 5 favorite actors that you ever worked with, and why?
That I've worked with? It's a tough one. Got to be David Morrissey, a fine actor, brilliant actor, so concentrated and so knew every line, knew every movement, so perfect. I mean, if they're professional and then they know what they're doing, that's a big professional thing for me. I mean, I'm working at the moment with Chris Cutler and a few guys, and they're so professional. Roger Ayers, Craig Quinn, they're so professional and they're so brilliant at the job. It's a big thing for me. But my top actors that I've worked with, probably David Morrissey, Clive Owen, Sheridan Smith, Derek Jacobi, Sir Derek Jacobi, Dinah Rigg, and they're all so professional, and that's why I like them, because they're so good at the job. They make it look easy, and it isn't easy. It's an hard job, but to make it look easy, you've got to be really good at your job. It's like any job. It's like, if you're a builder, if you're a presenter, you've got to be good at your job to come across as professional. And that's why I like the top actors.
No, I agree with you. Now, let me ask you, what is the biggest change you made in your acting career?
The biggest change, probably to writing. I switched over to writing about 4 years ago, and I wrote my book, Murder by Pencil, which is out at the moment on Amazon. I've wrote 20 more stories that I'm hoping to be turned into books or films. They're actually manuscripts. It's finished and ready. So we're hoping. I've wrote one about lockdown. I've wrote children's stories. I've wrote comedies. I've wrote 2 westerns. So probably I shifted more to writing as I've got older. Although I've been very busy this year acting, but when it goes quiet, I always go back to my writing. So I've got something to fall back on. So the probably biggest shift is from acting to writing, back to acting, back to writing. So as I get older, I should imagine I'll be doing more writing. So I really love the writing side of it. It's so fulfilling. It's really good. And if you can see it into it, try and get one into a film at the moment. But we're nearly there, but we just can't get there. It's very enjoyable.
I'm looking at your profile right now, and it says you are a writer of 5-star ratings of crime novels.
Yeah. That's Murder by Pencil. That's 5 stars at the moment. It's about a hitman from England who goes to Las Vegas, Nevada to kill someone, to do a hit, and he takes his girlfriend with him, so not to be suspicious traveling on his own. And it's about what they get up to in America. And it's a journey they go on, and it's an adventure. They have ups and downs, and everything happens to them. And I've got a lot of interest in fact, New York Times contacted me last week with an email about doing an advertisement in New York Times. So I've got a lot of interest from America, more in America than England. But yeah, it's doing well. It's doing okay.
And the other one is, I listened to a lot of audiobooks. Have you ever thought about doing an audiobook?
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've been considering it really. Yeah, I think I should really do it. Yeah. I mean, they're quite popular at the moment, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Especially with people with partial sights, and it's good. It's a good thing.
For me, I listen to who do I listen to? I listen to James Patterson. He has a lot of great books. I Am Michael Bennett. Animal, TikTok. There's Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
There's David Baldacci. And I think your book will be actually a bestseller.
Yeah, hopefully it'll get there. It's plodding along at the moment. It's like a slow horse ready for a gallop. But it's getting there. It's getting there. So yeah, but audio is very much on my mind at the moment.
Hey, if you're up for cross promoting, maybe we can do that.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. Yeah, definitely.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Maybe we could do something like that.
The other thing I want to ask you is, you mentioned you also wrote 25 short stories.
Yes.
And so the reason I asked that's a 2-part question. What are the 25 stories that you wrote, and would you be interested in ghostwriting?
Yes, I'd be interested in ghostwriting, definitely. And going back to the short stories, there's the different genres. There's two westerns, 2 comedy westerns. The Man with No Shame, one's called, and a couple of them are children's books, a couple of them are crime novels. So there's all different genres. I've tried to mix it up and do different types of stuff. A couple of erotic ones. So you can read them if you want. A couple of erotic ones, a couple of crime, a couple of comedies, westerns, different genres. I've tried to do a bit of everything. So I've just, the lockdown one I've wrote recently is about a woman. That's a comedy. That's about a woman who's locked away in lockdown and she can't get to her beauty salons. So her hair and her nails grow and her facial hair grows and she turns into a werewolf. So that's a comedy I'm trying to get off the ground at the moment. So I've got a great actress lined up to play the part if we can just get it out there. So I keep trying to get them out there, keep writing them and keep pushing them. I've got some good contacts, I've got some good friends. some great talented directors. I don't know, Craig Quinn, Chris Cutler, Roger Ayers. There's loads out there. So some good guys.
No, absolutely. And, not to pry, but you do have a beautiful house from what we can see from the video. I see you're all set for the winter with the fireplace. And I don't know what that thing hanging out from the doorway is, but at least you're not tall enough, so you don't have to worry about dodging or leaving out of the way.
This is the stairs. That's Charlie Chaplin. That's me and my wife in California. Bit of everything.
So
Charlie Chaplin's a great hero of mine.
I always heard about him. One of my favorites is now you're putting me on the spot. Well, I can't think of the names, but I can tell you the skits that he did. Niagara Falls.
Yeah.
Who's on first?
That's it. Yeah. Brilliant.
I can't think of the names, but those are really funny skits.
Yeah, they are. They're brilliant comedy. Brilliant. Laura Hardy.
Yes.
Laura Hardy, Charlie Chaplin. I love all that era. Some fantastic, groundbreaking comedy.
Can't beat the classics. George Collins up there for one of the greats.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a big Monty Python fan as well. Love Monty Python. And I love the wacky humour and that's that. Laura Hardy, Chaplin. Love me comedy. I used to love Peter Sellers when I was younger. He was a great hero of mine. Fantastic, funny man.
Now, the other thing I want to ask you is on your profile. Usually I ask a list of questions, but let's change up the format. You also worked for BBC Radio.
Yeah.
What can you tell our viewers about it?
Well, I did a couple of radio interviews, local news, mainly about my book and about the film I were in Vroom. I was in a film called Vroom a long while ago. And Clive Owen was in it. Clive Owen's first film. It was 1987. So I appeared on radio there and talked about the film. And I've been on local radio talking about my book. So, but it's just local radio, really. It's what we call BBC Radio Lancashire around here.
No, absolutely. I always heard about BBC. Actually, they're on in States, BBC News.
Oh, dear, yeah.
I always find it very interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting at the moment. There's plenty going on at the moment.
Well, the next two, I'm going to go off script. And actually some hard-hitting questions that you got free. You can throw it back at me. One, how have you been during the whole coronavirus? And has this given you the time to sit back and reflect on your career?
Yes, it has. It's been a difficult time for everyone. I moved out in the middle of it, so that did help. It kept me busy because there was no work. Everything stopped filming. So we're doing more writing or just moving house, painting, writing, just trying to keep my mind occupied. But it's been a difficult time for a lot of people. A lot worse off than me. I've been lucky, really. I've been able to grab hold of things that's kept me occupied and kept my brain busy. But a lot of people have suffered. It's been a terrible time. How have you gone on? Have you gone all right through it?
Well, I used to work over at Walmart, but, I didn't want to bring anything back, so I had to leave. But the good news is, I've been focusing on my talk show, working on my skills. I'm actually at my point where I'm at the 900. That's good news. Bad news is I have to wait until January because I don't want it to run over. Because usually I do like 2-3 episodes a week. So, that's great. You get the numbers up. Yeah. But you don't want it to be like, okay, now I reached my goal. What am I supposed to do now? So I pushed it to January. And in the meantime, I'm like, you know what? I want to make the Keith Andrew Network international. So now I have the UK edition. I have the Canadian edition. I have the Japan edition. Once I work around the time difference. I have the Australia edition. And so I want to make it not just, okay, it's just like an oxymoron, like an American thing. People all over the world suffer and deal with disabilities and all types of disabilities, why not make the Keith Andrew Network globalize and share my announcement and message with every single person out there?
Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah. There's a lot of disabilities, a lot of hidden disabilities, isn't there? You can't always see a disability.
I agree with you.
Yeah, and then that's when people tend to judge you when they can't see what's bothering you and what's wrong with you and what you're suffering from. So it's been a difficult time for people that's suffered. And I was lucky. I've been lucky. It's been hard work, but I've been lucky. I've been a lot better off than some people. I've kept myself occupied and kept writing and kept painting.
Well, the next one I want to ask you is, do you believe in global warming, and have you ever seen a big difference in the climate change from England? I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm 33 years old, and since I was alive, I live in upstate New York, so like in the Catskills. Everyone's like, oh, you live in the Catskills, you're safe, you're so lucky, you don't get hurricanes, you don't get tornadoes. Now with this whole freaking global warming, every time there's a storm blowing through, it's now a tornado warning or a lot. So I'm like, what the hell? I'm living in the mountains, so you're away from all this. But now it's kind of like Manhattan and New Jersey actually got hit by a tornado.
I saw that on BBC News.
You're getting tornadoes where you're not supposed to. And yeah. I'm like, so what I'm going to ask you is, have you getting things that you weren't really supposed to be getting things?
I've noticed over here we've been getting, well, this summer we've had either torrential downpours, or we've had a month's rain in a day, and then the day after you've got extreme heat. And it's just been like that all summer. Either from the downpours to the extreme heat. So there's definitely something going on. I don't know we're gonna get on top of it and get it right.
Yeah.
So it's a mammoth job. I mean, everybody has to help, really. Just try and get on top of it and get it. I mean, I think there's a meeting today in Washington, isn't there? Boris Johnson's gone over, and I don't know how they're going to solve it, but it does need looking at, because it's going worse. Man is ruining the planet, isn't it?
It's funny, but it's not funny. They said, what is the most dangerous animal alive? And right, it's a human being.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Yeah, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
We've done a lot of damage, haven't we, over the years? Lots of damage.
It's true, you can't fix stupid, but you can never move a 2x4.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, in England, do you get tornadoes, hurricanes? How different is it from the States?
It's we don't get them as bad as you do. We get sort of like the tail end from America, and it comes over and it seems to head towards Liverpool, which I'm not far from Liverpool, and it seems to head over that way. And we get a bad storm, but nothing compared to what you get. It's just torrential rain and wind, but nothing on the scale of what you get. I mean, you get it bad in America, don't you?
For the most part. We never used to, but yeah, now we're starting to get torrential rain. And it's kind of like, I can deal with the rain, but unfortunately, the winter's coming up. How do you think England's going to hold up for the winter? The reason I mention that is I think it's the Gulf. It's collapsing. So it's not going to collapse over days. It's going to collapse over years. So that's really going to affect the global warming.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely changing. The coastline's changing. It's like I say, I don't know how we're going to solve it, but we need to solve it. We need to put the plans in place, because we don't seem to get a lot of snowy winters now. We used to get a lot of snow in England, but we seem to get a lot of rain. It seems to go slightly milder, slightly warmer, but torrential rain, even in winter. Once at a time, we used to get snowy Christmases and snow all the time, but it is changing. It is changing, definitely.
Well, the good news is the planet will fix itself. It has for 65 billion years. Unfortunately, we won't be around to see it.
No, we won't be here. We'll be long gone.
I heard recently in Chicago, I think it was Chicago, or was it Florida? One of them, I think it was Chicago, where they got like 16-foot waves, and like that's not even normal.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? It's so crazy at the moment. It definitely needs looking at. You know, we need to address it.
Well,
The countries need to get together and try and solve it. Try and put money into it and solve it. We need to, don't we?
It's true. We need to plant more trees, even
Yeah.
though that's kind of putting, an ice cube in a freezer, kind of hoping for the best. It would help, but it's not going to be gradually. It's going to take a lot of time to fix the damage.
Yeah, it's going to take a long time. Yeah, I agree with you.
I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but the last two things I want to ask you is, have you worked with people with disabilities, besides me, obviously? And I know you hinted towards it in the very beginning. And are you willing to work with people with disabilities?
Yes, I've worked with a few people with disabilities over the years, yes. Yes, and it's, I think it should be more people, should be more diversity about, and, more people with disabilities should go more into filming and writing. Why not?
No, I agree. Actually, I was going to ask you this off the air, but I want to ask you now, how would you be interested in ghostwriting my story?
In writing your story? Yeah. Is it an interesting story?
I'm not a storyteller, so that's why I want someone who's someone good at telling stories. I'm like, oh, well, they can tell a story about me, Ben.
You're not a hitman, are you?
I'm sorry?
You're not a hitman, are you? You're not a killer.
That's true. I tried to write my own book once. It was just horrible. I'm like, you know what? I want someone who's a storyteller and actually can tell a great story.
Yeah, it is difficult. You've got to really sit down and concentrate and close yourself off. And I used to turn the TV off, turn the radio off. And I just used to concentrate and get the story in my head. And then it just seems to flow from there. But it worked for me. But a lot of people that I know that they have the radio on, they have the TV on. So I can't do all that. I need to concentrate. I need to get my brain in gear.
It's funny, when you watch the news, do you watch it for a long time? For me, I'm like, just give me the quick highlights and then I can move on. Because it's really great, and Fox News, I can sum up what you're gonna watch on Fox News: rape, murder, shootings, killings, and sports.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like, well, I don't know where sports actually fits in on that, but okay, and now sports, and and I approach people and I'm like, hey, I have a great story. No, yeah, it's a great story what you're doing, but it won't get people interested. Really? You rather talk about rape, murder, and killings in sports, obviously, but you don't want upbeat stories. You don't want to get people excited or interested. Say, oh, this is a great story I want to see. No, let's talk about all the garbage that's out there.
Yeah. I must admit, it's very similar here. It's very similar. I mean, sometimes you watch the news and it's depressing. The planets, we're losing the planet. There's, like I said, there's rapes, there's murders, there's COVID, there's everything at the moment. It's just so depressing. I mean, a lot of days I don't watch the news. Start watching it. And then it flicks to sport then, and comes out of that and goes to sport. Tries to cheer you up with a bit of sport. It can be so depressing. Yeah. Now, me and my wife sometimes don't even watch it. We just put something else on. Put an old film on, Charlie Chaplin.
The one thing about the news is they should get their facts straight and then go on the news, because every day is a different story. The coronavirus is going away. It's come back. People are getting better. People are dying. It's like, get your shit together. It's kind of like, because the one hand, it doesn't know what the other hand's doing. And then all you're doing is confusing people, and you're making people go absolutely nuts for no reason.
They contradict themselves, aren't they?
They do.
Yeah, like you said, they're telling you one bit of good news, and as soon as they tell you that, they're switching it to bad news, back to good news. It's like that all the time. You don't know if you're coming or going. Sometimes better off just not listening to it.
I agree. And now, how can our fans and listeners follow you on social media?
They can follow me. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Perfect. And your Instagram will be on the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook.
But the last question I want to ask you, and I can talk off the air, I want you to be brutally honest.
Yeah.
Or what do people say, bloody honest. I always like to say bloody honest. I don't know what it means, but I do like the sound of it. But, it does, having a brain fart. But the question I want to ask you is, when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show, what was your honest opinion? What made you say yes, and how do you feel now? Would you recommend it to other people?
Well, as soon as you approached me, I thought, yes, straight away, yes. Yeah. So I'd watched your shows a couple of times, and I was impressed how professional you are. And, the questions you ask, you just fire away. So, there was no doubt I wanted to come on your show. Yeah, definitely. I didn't even give it a second thought.
I appreciate that. Now, for our fans and listeners, make sure to go to Facebook, go #KeithAndrewNetwork, hit that notification. You'll be notified when brand new interviews are available and content. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that notification icon. You can either type in Keith Andrew Network, KeithAndrewNetwork.com. I don't really do that much. But #KeithAndrewNetwork, you get to see all 900 episodes, plus the bonus ones that we're working on right now. Season 10 will be this year in January. 9-year anniversary will be in June. I would love to have you a part of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Wrapping up our talk show, it was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I just want to say thank you for your time.